When Father David let me know that he was going to be away this weekend on an anniversary Alaskan cruise with his wife, Lael, and then I checked what I was going to need to preach about for our chosen preaching series. Oh no! I'm like, you can't be away that weekend. This is the weekend where we're supposed to be preaching on what it means to be meek. I know absolutely nothing about being meek. How can I be preaching on that beatitude of being meek when I don't know? So, like I do when I'm at a loss for words, I go to one of my favorite collections, the Aesop fables for children, those? And they have a index in the back that you look up the topics. And so I looked up meek. This is what it said, illustrates what it means to be meek. The north wind and the sun. The north wind and the sun had a quarrel about which of them was the stronger. While they were disputing with much heat and bluster, a traveler passed along the road wrapped in a cloak. "Let us agree," said the sun, "that he is the stronger who can strip that traveler of his cloak." "Very well," growled the north wind, and at once sent a cold, howling blast against the traveler. With the first gust of wind, the ends of the cloak whipped about the traveler's body. But he immediately wrapped it closely around him, and the harder the wind blew, the tighter he held onto it. The north wind tore angrily at the cloak, but all his efforts were in vain. Then the sun began to shine. At first, his beams were gentle, and in the pleasant warmth after the bitter cold of the north wind, the traveler unfastened his cloak and let it hang loosely from his shoulders. The sun's rays grew warmer and warmer. The man took off his cap and mopped his brow. At last, he became so heated that he pulled off his cloak and, to escape the blazing sunshine, threw himself down in the welcome shade of a tree by the roadside. Did you ever consider that the sun is meek? Think about it. Would you ever equate being meek with the sun? And yet, that is what the Bible sees in someone who is meek. The Bible depicts being meek as having a quiet strength, one that's hidden beneath the surface, never wielded with recklessness or cruelty, but carefully deployed with gentle precision and thoughtfulness. That comes from our chosen textbook, Blessed Are the Chosen, on page 52. Being meek is not being reckless or cruel, but carefully deployed with gentle precision and thoughtfulness, the message that we need to get forth. You think about in today's Gospel of Matthew, Jesus was trying to point out to the religious leaders, those who were truly fulfilling God's will. And it wasn't the arrogant. The people were not being converted by the religious leaders. Who were they listening to? John the Baptist. We hear in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 21, verse 32, "When John came to you in the way of righteousness, you did not believe him, but tax collectors and prostitutes did." tax collectors and prostitutes did. Would you ever consider John the Baptist as being meek? John the Baptist as being meek. You see, the reality is being meek still gets an important message across. It's just the way that the message is presented. You see in the person who's presenting the message their sincerity, that they really care for you. They're sharing this not to put you down and make themselves look better. They're doing the exact opposite. They're sharing it with you because they love you and want you to be better. That was the example of John the Baptist. He lived out St. Paul's letter to the Philippians chapter 2 verses 3 and 4 where he says, "Do nothing out of selfishness or out of vainglory. Rather, humbly regard others as more important than yourselves, each looking out not for his own interest, but also for those of others." So, how did that passage make you feel? I know it made me a bit uncomfortable. I mean, I've been working so hard on my self-esteem for so long. So, to regard others as more important than me? Yeah, that's why I'm preaching on being meek today. Because in reality, I do love others. And I want to follow the example of John the Baptist, but most especially of Jesus Christ. How did Paul continue in his letter to the Philippians? He said, look what Jesus was willing to do. To become one of us and to lay down his life for all of us, to give himself completely to us. And that's what we're being called to do too. To help others, to follow his gospel through our example, through being meek. And so as I prayed over this, I thought, well then, Lord, I'm called to be meek. And I'm not doing too good of a job of it at the moment. I could really use your help. And that's the key. That's the key. What I love in The Chosen Season 2, Episode 3, when Mary Magdalene said, I think he's here because we can't be holy without him. And she's referring to Jesus. I think Jesus is here because we can't be holy without him. I'm not going to be able to do very good on this whole meek thing on my own, but with Jesus I can succeed. With Jesus I can be the holy person that Jesus needs me to be. We read in our textbooks, Jesus saw beyond who they were in that moment to who they would become by his healing, recreating hand. And that's what I need in my life. Jesus' healing, recreating hand. To see beyond this typically arrogant person and help me to be meek. That strength under control. That witness of service. To willing to help others through giving of myself to make them to be better. And so, where are you in your journey of faith right now? Have you ever considered yourself as being meek? Have you ever considered yourself to be like the Son? Have you considered yourself to be like John the Baptist? How about considering yourself to be like Jesus Christ? Well, with his healing and recreating hand, that is who all of us can be. Because blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.